Hello, I am Mel Thompson, and this is a podcast in a series of podcasts about political risk. Today I'll be discussing Turkey. Not the food, but the country. And particularly, we're going to be talking about the issue of extradition. Extradition of a particular cleric who is now living here in the United States. As you all know, Turkey would like to see the extradition of Muslim cleric Gulen. He has now become a political bargaining chip between Turkey and ourselves for no good reason. And I say that mainly because there's no evidence the man had anything to do with the coup. This is a witch hunt being perpetrated by Erdogan, and he's trying now to get somebody who he didn't like in the first place. That's the blunt way of putting it. And if we look at the overall picture, the big picture, the reality is that this man is never going to be extradited to Turkey because the calendar does not dictate what Turkey would like for it to dictate. In other words, there is a procedure, there is a process. It's going to take a long time for this to go through because we have rules here in the United States. We're not going to grab this guy off the street and then drag him to a airplane and then drop him off in Turkey for Erdogan to do whatever he wants with him. Besides, as I said previously, there is absolutely no evidence that this man had anything to do with the coup. Now, having said all that, the problem that is coming up is one of economics, more so than diplomatic problems caused by this one individual through no fault of his own. Foreign direct investors and companies looking to conduct business in Turkey, or who have already been there for a while, need to be very cognizant of the fact that Erdogan is a vindictive, paranoid man that may retaliate in subtle ways against U.S. economic interests in order to get U.S. business leaders to demand extradition. So, in other words, the U.S. could use the trade relationship against Turkey by doing nothing. Because that is the one relationship the Turks think that they can exploit. If we do nothing, no matter what the kind of backdoor, back channel pressure may be put on politicians from business people, doing nothing in this case pretty much tamps it down because there's no other leverage that Erdogan has. And if this one thing fails, he does have one other option, but it's tied to whether or not this business pressure on politicians is successful or not. Now, we're going to get to that in a moment. But the big situation that is tying us together with Turkey in a way that is really irritating to them at this point is the fact that the airbase at Incirlik is not going to go away. It is there because they are a member of NATO, meaning Turkey. It is a required military base if you're talking about defending the interests of the United States in that region. And it is not something that Turkey is going to be messing with, mainly because they really don't want to leave NATO. They really like the idea of the security of the United States and that base presented for them. And if they were serious about getting us to extradite Gulen, they could come up with the excuse that he has now become such a problem for them that the United States has now become involved, and they were involved in this coup somehow, and they've been using the air base as a cover for this somehow, and therefore we would like to have the air base removed from our country, and we are leaving NATO. He's not doing that. He's not going to do that because that would be insane. And the other part of it is, if he was serious, he would try it. He's not even going to try this. So what is the other option? Applying financial pressure on U.S. companies. Subtle pressure that may cause our business people to go to politicians that they know and say, you got to get rid of this guy, you got to extradite him. It's not going to happen. We're going to sit on this guy, and the calendar is our favor. The bottom line is that subtle pressure are changes in market entry rules, tax rules, and a slowing down of permits. Erdogan knows that he has no leverage and is now going to try to save face somehow. If he was serious, he would have done what I stated before, which was to blame everything on the United States, accuse the airbase of being involved somehow, get the airbase out here. We're leaving NATO. We're going to become allies with the Russians. You notice he's not doing that. He's not going that far. He's yelling, he's screaming, but he's not going too far because he really does know that Gulen is not going to be extradited. So the next best move for foreign direct investors and companies when it comes to dealing with Turkey is to play the games very, very slowly and very, very calmly. Understand that there's going to be pressure potentially. You're going to have a lot of problems cropping up that are irritating problems, such as slowing down of supply chains, permits, things of that nature. In fact, get other supply chains ready because you may have a need for them if certain elements of your trade relationship with Turkey start to falter. If one supply chain that is very, very important to you is dependent upon Turkey somehow, and the issuing of permits and market entry rules at ports, then you might want to have another one that is ready that can somehow bypass that by bringing your products in and out through a different route. So the bottom line is, be aware, understand that this is a true political risk in a very subtle way, because the obvious political way is what you see on TV, but the very subtle way is what I said before. There may be some backdoor pressure put on businesses, so that in the hope that those business people will pressure our government. It's not going to work. It shouldn't work, and it's something you should be aware of as a business person conducting any type of trade or commerce at all with Turkey or in Turkey. This has been Mel Thompson.